Hi guys, welcome back to B's Speed Shop. So today I'm going to be working on my floor to sill reinforcement bracket. So what I've done so far is I've just roughly got it into place, and I put the sill up against this because there's an oval hole on the sill which lines up with this threaded hole. So they're in line now. So what I've done is I've just marked this outside edge. So what I'll do is I'll punch a few holes along these flanges to do the spot welds. But on what I'll do one either side, I'll drill through the floor as well, so I can use a nut and bolt to clamp it really tight, so I've got really good spot welds. So I've just roughly clamped the sill into position just to show you that I've got that threaded hole lined up with that opening. Obviously what I've got to do on this flange I made, I got to cut this corner off, or maybe just grind a bit off of this, just so that this will sit flush against the floor. So before I start work on getting the little bracket welded in, I don't know if you can see there's a bit of a gap just here on this edge. So what I'm planning to do is just cut out a little patch, because you see there's this flange edge here where this piece is spot welded in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little panel just to go in this section, just to match up with this. And then what I'll do is I'll make it slightly longer so I can just hammer over the edge to fill that gap, and then I'll weld it to the floor piece, put a few holes in it, and then weld it along this piece. I need to just grind this top off a little bit because this piece is overlapping with this piece. So what I'll do is I'll grind this down so it's the same level, and then when I get my new door jamb, I can then weld that along there, and then I'll get this panel done first. So I've got my little patch cut out now. I've just drawn a line, that's roughly where the bend is going to go. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up in the vise and then hammer over that edge just to create a little fold. So that should be enough of a bend now, so I'll quickly test fit it and then I can adjust it if need be. So I've just hammered this edge over a little bit more and it fits much better now. I can actually see that the angle is pretty much spot on. Obviously I need to trim a little bit off of this edge just to make it fit in that gap a bit better. And I've got to trim the length as well, because it's not quite sitting in, it's just sitting on this edge. So I've got about a quarter of an inch probably to cut off this edge. So I've got my little patch trimmed and it fits in much better now. So the top and bottom hole I drilled through all the way and just used a nut and bolt just to clamp it tight to this piece. And I've also got two other holes where I can spot weld too. So I just need to, on the very bottom here, I just need to grind a bit more away or cut a bit of this panel off at the bottom there just so that fits in, because at the moment it's still overlapping. I managed to grind a bit off this top edge so that fits in much better now. I mean, there is a slight gap, but I'll be able to weld that together. So what I'll do is I will come back to this tomorrow, trim off this last little bit on the bottom here, clean up all this area and try and get this welded in and then welded to this actual floor piece as well. And then once I get that done, I can just put the holes in my bracket, which goes from the floor to the sill, and then it's just a case of spot welding it in place, and then that's pretty much that part done. So I've got my little corner piece welded in now. So I've done those two spot welds, and I welded the edge along the floor pan piece as well. So all that's left for this piece is to spot weld the top and bottom hole where I drilled through for the nut and bolt. But I've got my floor to sill reinforcement bracket clamped into place. Got a couple of bolts on it as well. Quickly show you from the outside. So this is it in place now. So what I'll do is I'll do the spot weld here somewhere, and then I've got it set up so that I can do this bottom one on this side, and then once I get those done I can take the clamps off and do the other spot welds. So I've got my little reinforcement bracket all welded in. All the welds went pretty good. So these two where I drilled through, they did blow through a little bit, but obviously there wasn't any metal there to weld to anyway. But I managed to get them sorted out. Funny enough, the ones this side, they were harder to get to, but I think they turned out much better. And then the little patch I made, it was those two holes there where I drilled through, so I just plugged them up as well. But I'm pretty happy with how things are going so far. So I still need to get some of the back ones for these because they are slightly different, but if I can't get the back ones, what I can do is I can just get two more of the front ones and just modify them slightly, because all it is this top edge is slightly shorter, but it's only got one side on it. So this is the back reinforcement bracket. So as you can see, the top edge is much shorter than the front one, but I measured it from the bottom to the centre of the threaded hole. They are pretty much exactly the same. So what I can do, if I can't get the back ones, I can just get two of the front ones and just modify them, just cut the top off and then cut one of these sides off, because as you can see it's only got one side bit. So I can always do that if push comes to shove. So I'm going to be leaving this video here for now. Super happy I was able to get a little patch in and the floor to sill reinforcement bracket welded in this weekend. So thanks for watching this video.